there is 10 pounds of bologna. Must have got some pretty decent fill on the big one, because the two of these things together are pretty well much 10 pounds. See the little number? That's all that was left. And that's supposed to be a 7-pound casing and a 2-pound casing. So probably closer to a 2.5 on the 2-inch clear casing there. But we'll find out quick enough. Okay, there we've got the 2-inchers out. The little one got up to temperature a little quicker than the big one, so you can see he's already beginning to shrivel and wrinkle. So it's 183 degrees, that's plenty enough temperature. And you see the depth of that probe is way up inside of that log, so we're not just checking the end. And you'll also notice that it turned quite a bit redder than it was when it went in. And that's largely because of those nitrates. The cure is working on keeping our meat safe. Now we're 3 hours of cook time at 300 degrees Fahrenheit, and we're at 183 degrees in the center of that log. Now remember, that log is a 24-inch casing, pretty good sized dude, and you can easily see how you might actually be cooked on the outside of the log and maybe not in the center. It's the center we need to worry so much about, because that's where we're going to be the coolest, and we're 183 degrees there. We know we're at a safe temperature. We ought to be able to let this puppy cool and slice him up. If you'll notice on the recipe card when it comes up that there is a 7-pound convenient mix, and there's also a 10 pounds convenient mix. Now, when you buy your ground chuck, you get them in 5-pound packs most often, and I had 5 pounds deer. The 10-pound batch is easy to make. It allows me to make these little cracker-sized bolognas too. But now, if you'll notice, a 7-pound nominal red sausage casing and a 2-pound nominal clear fibrous with protein to make it adhere, still 7 and 2 is 9, and we don't have quite a pound in the bottom. We actually, in that little number, have a half pound if we measure it out. And we wonder, how does the math work? Well, when I go to weigh the big red one, he weighed 8.34 pounds. The skinny one, the long skinny one, the 2-inch is supposed to be a 2-pound nominal. It was 2.36. Now, anybody can do some math and come up with 8 and change plus 2 and change is over 10 pounds. How can that possibly be if we only had 10 pounds of meat? Well, let me show you something. See our drip pan? We had very little drippage. And this is less drippage in this batch than we've seen in any previous sausage, and that's because with this extremely fine grind, this 3-pass grind, when we added our binder, our soy protein, and almost 3 cups of water, we added weight along with the rest of the spices. But the spices don't weigh too much. But remember, we're adding hog rings and strings and casings along with our water, and you see, didn't much come out. That's because our binder is acting a lot like a filler. Now, we could have doubled or tripled the amount of soy protein in it, and it's cheaper than meat. We could have extended our loaf quite a bit. You'll see also in a lot of bolognas, you'll see mustard used quite heavily. And that's predominantly because mustard has no flavor. It's like the paprika. It's not added because of taste. It's added for some other purpose. And the purpose of adding mustard is when you fill her full of water, and water is basically free or darn near cheap, we're able to multiply the profits if we're a professional meat packing company by adding that water in. And if you sliced into it and water ran out, well, that would be unacceptable. But by adding it, and the mustard, dry mustard, something like that, or a binder that will extend it, you're basically adding money right to the bottom line. So that's how you can actually get more than 10 pounds of product out of 10 pounds of meat. There's big red bologna after he's cooled down. I don't think he's going to get cold enough inside to slice him tonight, so we have to do him tomorrow. We have the slicer ready. We're fixing to peel the paper off and slice this bologna up. When you process animals, you often end up with a lot of excess fat. So you end up having to pay someone to take that excess fat away. Unless you have a product that you can grind really, really fine and hide that fat in which case then you get someone to pay you for the privilege of taking your excess fat away. And that's a pretty good idea. If you're a cardiologist or a butcher, cardiothoracic surgeon, that sort of thing, manufacturer of stents. But now if you're just a regular person with a heart, or know someone with a heart, or love someone with a heart, it's probably not such a good idea. If you only had a low-fat, high-quality, smoky bologna recipe, you could make your own and keep all that fat on the butcher's floor. Now, the purpose of doing the triple grind, as you can see, you get a much, much finer grind. Now, I actually use a 3/16 because I didn't have an 1/8 real handy at the time. I'll have to add one to my inventory. But look at the difference in the texture between that and one of our single grinds on the pastrami log. And you can easily see the difference. There it's packaged, less some that is going to make it into the refrigerator, and a few pieces that for some strange reason mysteriously disappeared off my slicer as we were doing it. You can do them in singles, you can package them in doubles, you can do them in triples. You're packaging them, put as much or as little as you want to in your vacuum packed bags. Now, when you slice your own, you can make it as thin or as thick as you might want it to be.